Philosophy Fridays. You know, you wake up those mornings, you just don't feel like living. A lot of people don't know, but I actually suffer with major depressive disorder. You know, it's just one of those things, you know, it's just, you know, some people deal with that. It's a real thing, there's a lot of stigma behind it, and especially with guys that think, oh, I can handle this. Well, not really. I don't. I remember I had a wise old lady said, Damon, if you ever think about hurting yourself, the moment you have even the first thought of that, go tell somebody. Don't sit there and wait on it. Just go tell somebody. And it stuck with me. And time had gone on, and life was just hard, getting harder and harder. And it was just, and that point came. You know, working at my old day job, and I was back there in that stinking kitchen. Gosh. And I had this knife in my hand, and I was like, why don't you just take this knife and just thrust it to the back of my throat here, you know? Okay, that's it. It's time for me to move on. This was actually several years before I even actually quit that job, but I knew I needed to get some kind of help and intervention then. And if it wasn't for somebody telling me, Damon, if you're feeling like this, you need to go get some help, I probably would not have gotten the help I needed. I probably wouldn't even be here making these videos for you guys. Another thing was I have a group of people we meet on Wednesday nights at our church or whatever, or little small groups that are real popular now in churches these days. And I was just kind of expressing how I feel, and I had, you know, I tend to write a lot of wisdom and poetry, and I'd written something out, and it was just a whole lot darker, and then people, and there was a lady named in that group, her name was Joy, and she said, you need to go talk to your main, you know, medical practitioner and tell him how you're feeling, and he can get you some help. You get to a point where your brain just can't, brain chemistry sort of alters and changes, and your brain just not able to produce the chemicals it needs to function. And so I got the help I need, and I got the medicine I needed, and I got, you know, and I was already plugged in well at church. That's why I'm still here. And in my case, it's just driven to the point of suicide. I mean, even Jesus was driven to the point of suicide when he was out in the desert, and Satan was like, jump off this tower or whatever, and you know, God's not mocked. You don't tempt the Lord thy God, right? So those of you out there who are just struggling, this is a very serious thing. If you need to get help, get help. And that's one of the reasons why you see me the way I fish. I don't really care what anybody thinks. I don't care that people, I use bait with my fly rod, and I don't care. I don't have time. I have much bigger fish to fry, okay? It's either, because if it was just about me trying to look like everybody else and have all these stupid pretenses, I would have committed suicide a long time ago. That's why I don't care. I just go do it, and if it helps you, great. If it doesn't, then there's like millions of other YouTube channels to watch. Right? Check out this guy, Fresh Big Mouth. He's this goofy white guy who actually makes really cool music videos. They call them beat scouts. I didn't know this was a thing, but he just goes around everyday life finding everyday things to make rhythmic patterns. And me being a musician in a former life, I kind of respect being able to do that. And so he has a cool video. The name of the video, I'll put a link to it, is actually a 1-800 number you can call to get help and things like that. But it's a pretty good video. A lot of people out there are just alone, don't have anybody and nothing, you know, and it's just so sad because that's not how we're meant to be. We were designed to function within community. Even somebody like me who's just fairly solitary, I still need people. Like today, I was just feeling real bad again, couldn't quite understand why, and I just said, okay, I got to get out of here. And I just went to a restaurant up the road and sat and ate lunch, and I went to the post office to mail one of the samples out, and the lady behind the desk was real nice. Have a blessed day. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. Then I was driving by and I saw a friend he's actually a mail truck driver, and he's blowing his horn. I'm like, who is this blowing his horn at me? Hey, Damon! It's like, it was this guy, you know, a guy named Casey, you know. I was like, oh, that's neat. Then I went to the restaurant, and there was this guy who had a Marine hat on, and he looked about like what a lot of Marines look like, you know. I got my food and everything. He's like, oh, have a blessed day, sir. And, you know, it's like, huh, there's 3 people in the past, in less than 30 minutes who told me, have a blessed day, or I'm thinking, you know, that's exactly what I needed, you know. And then I just came home and I just felt a heck of a lot better. You got to know when, at what point you're starting to slip and what you need to do. For me, it's just go out and hang out with people for a while. Even though I need a lot of solitude, there's a point where solitude becomes isolation, right? You got to know where that line is. A lot of guys come back from the Army, come back from the Marines, come back from the Air Force, come back from the Navy, even Coast Guard, whatever. Policemen, firefighters, even EMT workers, anybody who's been in a real high stressful situation for a long time. And I've never served in the armed forces, and a lot of people don't understand. Black Warrior Lures is named after the Black Warrior River, which is actually named after a black warrior named Tuscaloosa, Chief Tuscaloosa, which actually means black warrior. So there is a military connection. He fought against DeSoto. If you need help, go get the help and forget what anybody else thinks. God gave you the life that you have. Your life is far more important than the problems that you have. Suicide is a incredibly permanent problem to life, which is incredibly senselessly temporary. If you know anybody who seems like they're depressed, go tell them, I think you're depressed, and ask them, do you think about hurting yourself? Ask them. A lot of times they'll tell you. All right, I'm out of here.